Story 1, the parallel parking. I watched my truck park itself in a rest area off I-40 in Arizona while I was still inside driving it. And now there are two of my truck, two of me, and I can see the other me through the window of the parked vehicle. And he's staring back at me with the same expression of dawning horror that I must be wearing. My name is David Torres. I'm 38 years old, and I'm hauling farm equipment from Texas to Nevada. Except now I'm also hauling farm equipment from Texas to Nevada while simultaneously being parked at a rest stop. And both things are happening at the same time in the same reality. It started 3 miles back. I was in the left lane, passing a slow-moving RV, when I noticed a truck in the right lane matching my speed. Nothing unusual about that, except the truck was identical to mine. Same Peterbilt 579, same blue and white paint scheme, same company logo, same trailer configuration. Even the same pattern of dirt on the side panels, the same small dent in the front quarter panel from where I scraped a pole in Albuquerque 2 months ago. I tried to speed up to get a look at the driver. The other truck sped up too, staying perfectly parallel. I slowed down. It slowed down. We were locked together, moving as one unit, and that's when I noticed the driver. He was me, not someone who looked like me. Same face, same red shirt, same saw. "What's happening?" I asked the CB. "I don't know, you appeared 3 miles back. Just suddenly you were there in the lane next to me. How long have you been seeing me?" 3 miles, since I started passing an RV. "There's no RV, there's just you." I checked my rear view. The RV was gone. The highway behind us was empty. Behind the other truck in my peripheral vision, also empty, 2 identical highways overlapping. "We need to do something," other me said. "We can't just drive like this forever." "I'm going to take the next exit," I said. "Maybe that breaks whatever this is." "There isn't going to be an exit. I've been watching the signs. They keep saying rest area 2 miles, but we never reach it. The distance doesn't decrease." He was right. The green sign passed on my right, rest area 2 miles. But I'd seen that same sign, I was now certain, 3 times already. We were in a loop, but not the kind where the scenery repeats. The kind where distance stops meaning anything. Except then the rest area appeared. Suddenly, with no warning, no gradual approach. Just there, the exit ramp curving off to the right. I jerked the wheel, taking the exit. The other truck continued straight on the highway. "No," other me shouted through the CB. "Don't exit, we need to stay together if we separate." His voice cut off. I was on the ramp, slowing, the highway receding behind me. In my mirror, I could see the other truck getting smaller, continuing west. But it was also getting more transparent, fading like a ghost. Then reality stuttered. I was on the ramp, slowing down. I was on the highway, watching my other self take the exit. Both things were true simultaneously. I was in both trucks, experiencing both perspectives, my consciousness split between 2 bodies driving in different directions. The me on the ramp pulled into the rest area, parked in a spot near the facilities, put the truck in park, killed the engine, sat there breathing hard, trying to understand what just happened. The me on the highway kept driving, staring at the exit ramp in the mirror, watching my other self disappear into the rest area. Kept going west. Farm equipment still needed to be delivered. But I was both. I am both. Present tense because it's still happening. I'm sitting in a parked truck writing this on my logbook. I'm also driving at 71 miles per hour on I-40. 2 locations, 2 states of being, both David Torres. The David in the rest area opens his door and steps down. His legs are shaking. He walks toward the facilities, needing to see other people, needing confirmation that reality still works normally. The David on the highway sees another truck ahead. Slowing, turns signal on, it's starting to take an exit that just appeared, and the truck is a blue and white Peterbilt, and the driver looks familiar. The David in the rest area passes a family having a picnic. They look at him. Through him, he waves. They don't respond. He looks down at his hand. It's translucent. He can see the picnic table through his palm. The David on the highway is approaching the truck on the exit ramp. The driver is looking back, face shocked. It's me again. Another me. This one looks terrified, mouthing something through his window. The David in the rest area looks back at his truck. There's someone in the driver's seat. Someone who looks exactly like him, sitting there, staring forward. But wait, he's the one who parked. He's the one who got out. Who's in his seat? The David on the highway sees the third truck complete its exit, disappearing into a rest area. Sees a 4th truck ahead, also blue and white, also starting to exit. How many of me are there? The David in the rest area runs back to his truck, yanks open the door. The other David looks up at him, surprised. Who are you? The seated David asks. I'm the one who parked. I'm you. We're the same person. No, I just parked. I haven't gotten out yet. They stare at each other. Two David tours, both certain they're the original, both convinced the other is the copy. The seated David's hands are on the wheel. The standing David remembers putting the truck in park, remembers turning off the engine. But the engine is running. The truck is idling. The seated David is about to get out. The David on the highway has passed 4 exit ramps now, 4 identical rest areas. In his mirror, he can see all 4, all visible at once despite being miles apart. In each one, there's a blue and white Peterbilt parked. In each one, there are 2 David Tours figures, one in the truck, one standing outside, arguing. He understands now. Every time he passes an exit, a version of him takes it, parks, gets out, discovers he's not alone. The highway is splitting him, creating parallel versions, and they're all real, all primary, all David Tours with equal claim to the identity. He's approaching a 5th exit. He grips the wheel tighter, doesn't exit, stays on the highway. Maybe if he never exits, he stays singular, stays whole. But in the mirror, a truck is gaining on him. Blue and white, same model. The driver is waving frantically, trying to get his attention. At the rest area, the number of David Tours is growing. The one who exited first is now nearly invisible, a ghost of a ghost. The second one is translucent. The third is still fairly solid. They're arranged in a line, each one slightly less real than the one before. The first David, the one who can barely be seen, speaks with a voice like wind. It's not splitting us, it's spreading us, distributing a single consciousness across multiple instances. The more versions exist, the less real each one becomes. We're diluting. How do we stop it? The third David asks. We can't. The David's still on the highway, the one who hasn't exited yet. He's the most solid. He's where most of our reality still resides. But every mile he drives, he gets closer to another exit. Eventually, he'll have to take one. And when he does, we spread thinner. On the highway, David is approaching exit 6. He's not taking it. He's committed to staying on the main route. But the exit ramp is curving toward him, moving, changing angle. The highway is merging with the exit. There's no longer a choice. The road is forcing him into the rest area. He fights the wheel, trying to stay straight, but the painted lines are curving. The lane itself is becoming the exit. He's being absorbed into the rest area against his will. The truck takes the ramp. He's slowing. The rest area is ahead. He can see his other trucks parked there, 6 of them now, all identical, and standing in a line, 7 versions of himself, each one more transparent than the last. He parks 7th spot, kills the engine, gets out, joins the line. He's still fairly solid, still mostly real. But he can feel it, the sensation of being stretched, of existing in too many places, of consciousness spread like butter scraped across too much bread. The first David is almost gone now, just an outline, a suggestion of a person. There's a pattern, he says, voice barely audible. Every 3 miles, an exit, every exit taken, a new version. The road is harvesting us, taking one person and converting them into multiples. But why? The 8th David arrives, parks, joins the line. With each new arrival, all the others fade a little more. Maybe it's not about us, the 5th David says. Maybe the road needs drivers, needs us to populate it. 1 driver becomes 10, becomes 100. We're being copied like files. But where's the original? The 9th David asks, parking his truck and approaching. Which one of us is the real David Tours? They all turn to look at each other. 9 identical men, wearing the same clothes, bearing the same scars, holding the same memories. Each one certain they're primary until they look at the others and see equal validity. The 10th David doesn't park in the rest area. He stays on the highway, watching the rest area recede in his mirror. He counts the trucks. 10, 10 versions, but he's also the 10th. He's both still on the highway and parked at the rest area. The split is no longer spatial. It's happening in the same location, the same moment. He's sitting in the truck. He's standing in the line. He's driving on the highway. All at once, all simultaneously. The David in the truck looks out the window at the David standing outside who is also watching himself drive past on the highway. Perspective fragments. He's seeing from 10 sets of eyes, the road ahead, the rest area, the line of his own faces, all overlapping, his mind see. Can't process it, can't maintain coherence across so many viewpoints. He's 20 Davids now, 50, 100, each one slightly less real, slightly less him. The rest area is full of blue and white Peterbilts, all parked, all identical. The line of Davids extends across the parking lot, through the facilities, into the desert beyond. The first David, the one who exited first, is gone entirely, just a memory of having been there. The second is vanishing. They're dissolving in order, the oldest versions losing cohesion first. We're not being copied, the 100th David realizes. We're being divided, the same amount of David tours spread across more and more instances. Eventually, there will be so many versions that each one will have almost nothing, just a fragment of consciousness, a sliver of soul. The highway is full of blue and white Peterbilts now, all traveling west at exactly 71 miles per hour, stretching from horizon to horizon. All David tours, all hauling farm equipment to Nevada, all experiencing this moment from slightly different positions on the same road. The rest area has become a parking lot of infinite size, filled with infinite trucks, surrounded by infinite copies of the same man, all fading, all dissolving into transparency as the division continues. David understands now. He's not a person anymore. He's a phenomenon. A single consciousness diffracted through space like light through a prism, split into spectrum, each wavelength a separate version experiencing its own isolated reality. He tries to speak, to communicate between his versions, but which mouth should speak? Which ears should listen? He's all of them and none of them. The highway continues. The exits continue. The parking continues. More divisions, more distributions. The amount of David tours remaining in each instance approaches zero. In truck stop somewhere in Nevada, a driver named David Tours delivers a load of farm equipment. He doesn't remember the drive from Texas. Doesn't remember most of his life, actually. Feels thin, spread out, like he's not entirely present in his own body. He signs the delivery paperwork with a hand he can barely feel. The receiving clerk looks at him strangely. "You okay, buddy? You look, I don't know, pale, fuzzy." David tries to answer, but he's not sure how. Which version of his vocal cords should vibrate? Which lungs should push the air? He's distributed across so many instances now that the simple act of speaking requires coordinating thousands of bodies. He manages a whisper, "How many of me do you see?" The clerk counts on his fingers. One, just you feeling all right?" One, the clerk sees one, but David is thousands. The rest area in Arizona is still full of his trucks, still surrounded by copies of himself, all existing simultaneously. He's there and here and everywhere in between. "I should go," he says and walks to his truck. To thousands of trucks. Parks in a sleeper berth and closes his eyes and doesn't sleep because he's also driving, also parking, also standing in a line in a rest area watching himself fragment into infinity. He will never be singular again. He is the parallel parking, the eternal division, the driver who exists in too many places to be real in any of them. And somewhere on I-40 in Arizona, another driver passes a rest area full of blue and white Peterbilts, counts them curiously, wonders what kind of company event would have so many identical trucks in one place. Doesn't notice that they're all empty, all running, all idling in park with no drivers inside. Because the drivers are everywhere, are nowhere, are spread so thin across reality that they've become transparent. Are still driving, still parking, still standing in line waiting for dissolution. Still trying to remember which one is the original. Story 2, The Flesh Cargo. The meat in my refrigerated trailer is growing, adding mass that shouldn't be possible, and the cargo manifest says I'm hauling 3,000 pounds, but the weigh station scale showed 18,000 pounds and climbing. And when I opened the trailer doors at a distribution center in Memphis, the supervisor took one look and vomited on my boots and said, "That's not beef. That's not from any animal I know." And now I'm driving away fast before someone calls the authorities, because I know what I'm really hauling and where it came from and why it's growing, and I can't let them find out. My name is Robert Hayes. No, wait, that's wrong. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm sure my name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 43 years old, 20 years in trucking, and I picked up this load in Sacramento from a processing plant that I swear was at the address on my manifest. But when I called my dispatcher to report the issue, he said there's no processing plant at that address, just an abandoned lot, and I must have gotten confused about where I loaded. But I remember the plant, remember the workers in white coats and plastic glove. Ease loading the pallets into my trailer. Remember signing the paperwork. Remember the supervisor handing me the manifest and saying, "Don't stop for inspections. Don't let anyone see the cargo, straight through to Atlanta. You'll be paid triple rate." Triple rate for hauling meat seemed suspicious but not impossible. Maybe it was black market beef, illegally processed. Maybe it was exotic game, endangered species. I didn't ask questions. I never ask questions. That's how you stay employed in this industry. The problem started in Nevada. My reefer unit gauge showed the temperature at 34 degrees Fahrenheit, standard for refrigerated meat. But I could feel heat coming from the trailer, radiating through the metal. I pulled over at a truck stop and checked. The reefer was running normally, pumping cold air, but inside the trailer it was warm. Not hot, but warm, like a body. I called the emergency number on the manifest. A woman answered, voice professionally calm. "Mr. Hayes, you need to keep driving. Don't inspect the cargo. Don't stop except for fuel. The temperature discrepancy is expected. The cargo is generating its own heat. That's normal." "I'm Sarah Mitchell," I corrected her, "and meat doesn't generate heat." "Of course, Ms. Mitchell, my apologies. And you're correct, meat doesn't generate heat. But your cargo isn't meat anymore. It's becoming something else. That's why you need to deliver it quickly, before the transformation completes." "What transformation?" "Just drive, Ms. Mitchell. You'll understand when you reach Atlanta." She hung up. I stood there in the Nevada desert, phone in hand, feeling the warmth from my trailer like a living presence. I should have called the police. Should have reported the load as suspicious. But triple rate. And the woman's voice had been so calm, so certain, like this was routine, like cargo transforming mid-shipment was just part of the job. I got back in the truck and drove. By Utah, the weight had increased. I felt it in how the truck handled, the extra mass shifting in the trailer, making turns sluggish. I pulled into a weigh station even though the manifest said not to. The scale operator looked at his monitor, frowned, and asked me to pull forward and weigh again. The second weight was higher, 18,000 pounds, 6 times what I'd loaded. "Your manifest says 3,000 pounds, the operator said. "We've got a serious discrepancy here. I need to inspect your cargo." "It's refrigerated meat," I told him. "Beef, nothing interesting." "Beef doesn't gain 15,000 pounds during transport. Open the trailer." We walked to the back. I broke the seal, pulled the doors open. The operator's flashlight beam swept the interior. The pallets were there, still wrapped in plastic, but they were larger, swollen. The plastic was stretched tight over masses that pressed against it from within, distending like balloons. And the color was wrong, not the dark red of beef or the pink of pork. A pale, yellowish color, organic but unidentifiable. The operator gagged. "Jesus Christ, what is that smell?" I hadn't noticed the smell until he mentioned it. Now it hit me, sweet and rotten and somehow familiar, like a hospital, like sickness, like flesh that's alive but wrong. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I just picked it up in Sacramento. I was told it was beef." "That's not beef." He was backing away, hand over his mouth. I don't know what that is, but it's not food, not any food that humans eat." He went back to his booth. I heard him on the phone, voice urgent. I didn't wait to find out who he was calling. I closed the doors, climbed in my truck, and drove out of the way station while he was still talking. That was a mistake. Fleeing made me guilty of something, even if I didn't know what. But I had a delivery to make, triple rate, and I was starting to suspect that finishing this route was more important than I understood. In Colorado, I stopped at a rest area and opened the trailer again. Needed to see, needed to understand what I was hauling. The plastic wrap had split. The masses inside were visible now, no longer constrained. They weren't meat. They were organs. Massive, oversized organs, hearts the size of coolers pulsing slowly, lungs in pairs, inflating and deflating in rhythm. Livers, kidneys, intestines, all scaled up to impossible dimensions, all alive, all functioning. But they weren't connected, weren't part of any body. Just organs doing their jobs in isolation, pumping and filtering and breathing air that shouldn't exist in a refrigerated trailer. One of the hearts was beating faster than the others. I watched it pulse, the muscle contracting, arteries flexing. It was connected to something. Tubes growing from its base, extending across the trailer floor like roots. The tubes were fleshy, organic, and they connected to the other organs, linking them together, building circulatory systems where none should exist. The cargo was assembling itself, building something. A body without a skeleton, without skin, just organs and connective tissue growing into a structure that didn't match any anatomy I'd ever seen. A liver, one of the smaller ones, had something on its surface. Letters, raised like scar tissue. I leaned closer, reading by the light of the reefer unit. Sarah Mitchell. My name carved into the surface of a liver. I stumbled back, checked another organ. A kidney, more letters, Robert Hayes. A lung, Jennifer Morrison. Every organ was labeled, names carved into the tissue, names that were familiar, tickling something in my memory. I was Sarah Mitchell, but I was also Robert Hayes. The woman on the phone had called me both names. I'd corrected her, certain of my identity, but now, looking at those names, I wasn't sure. I checked my wallet, driver's license, Robert Hayes, but it also said Sarah Mitchell. Both names occupying the same space on the card, letters overlapping, impossible to read clearly. My phone buzzed, text message from an unknown number. You are the cargo and the driver. Stop trying to separate them. Deliver yourself to Atlanta. I'm shaking as I write this. Not sure anymore if I'm Sarah or Robert or someone else entirely. The organs in the trailer, they're all people. All drivers. All of us who took this route, who accepted the triple rate, who agreed to haul cargo without asking questions. We're being rendered, broken down into components, transported to some destination where we'll be reassembled into something new. The truck is a processing plant, the route is the method, and I'm both the deliverer and the delivered. In Kansas, I'm pulling into a rest area. There's another blue and white Peterbilt already parked. I recognize it. It's mine, same truck. Same trailer. I watch as a figure climbs out. It's me. Sarah Mitchell, or maybe Robert Hayes. She walks to their trailer, opens the doors, and I see inside. There I am, an organ on a pallet. A brain, massive and pulsing, with my name carved into the frontal lobe. The other me sees it too. Screams. Runs. I want to help, want to warn them, but I'm also in my own truck watching this happen, and when I look in my mirrors, I see a third Peterbilt pulling into the rest area behind me. We're converging. All the versions of us who took this route, who hauled ourselves without knowing. All coming together at these rest stops, parking lots that are becoming staging areas for the reassembly. I get out of my truck. So do the other two. 3 of us, all identical, all terrified. We approach each other slowly. Are you Sarah? One asks. I think so. Are you Robert? Maybe. I'm not sure anymore. We open our trailers. Each one contains organs, different organs. Mine has the brain and the hearts. One has the digestive system. One has the lungs and kidneys. We're all hauling pieces of the same thing. The same entity being assembled across multiple trucks, multiple routes, multiple versions of the same driver. Atlanta, I say. We're all going to Atlanta. That's where it assembles. What assembles? Robert Sarah asks. Us, all of us, we're building something, or something is building itself through us. The company that hired us, the plant that loaded us, it's harvesting drivers, converting us into cargo. When we reach Atlanta, we'll unload ourselves, and whatever is being built will be complete. More trucks are arriving. The rest area is filling with identical Peterbilts, all carrying organs, all driven by versions of Sarah Mitchell or Robert Hayes or the dozen other names I can see carved into tissue when I look inside the trailers. We're an assembly line, a distributed manufacturing process, and we're willingly delivering our own components to the destination. One of the Roberts is crying. I have a daughter. Sarah, I have. No, wait, that's Jennifer's daughter. Or is that my daughter? Who am I? Our memories are mixing, bleeding together, all the drivers being merged not just physically but mentally. We're becoming a collective, a hive of truckers all delivering their own body parts to a reconstruction site. I climb back in my truck. The others do the same. We leave the rest area in convoy, 10 Peterbilts all heading east, all carrying organs, all piloted by fragments of people who used to be individuals. By the time I reach Tennessee, I'm not Sarah or Robert anymore. I'm we. I'm the convoy. I'm the cargo. I remember loading myself in Sacramento. Remember the plant workers who were also me, earlier versions, who had already delivered and been integrated and were now working at the source, harvesting new drivers. It's a cycle, a loop. Deliver the cargo and become part of the operation, process new victims. The company doesn't hire drivers, it converts them, turns them into distribution networks for its own expansion. Atlanta appears on the horizon. The address on my manifest resolves into a warehouse, large and windowless, surrounded by Peterbilts, hundreds of them. All identical, all empty, all parked in perfect rows like a graveyard for trucks. I back up to a loading dock. So do the other versions of me. We're all arriving simultaneously, all unloading simultaneously. Forklifts emerge from the warehouse, driven by things that used to be drivers, their bodies incorporated into the machinery, flesh and metal hybrid operators. They take the pallets, the organs, the pieces of us. They wheel them inside where I can see a central chamber, vast and dark with something growing in the middle, something massive. Something assembled from thousands of drivers, thousands of organs, all merged into a singular entity. It has hearts by the dozen, all beating in synchronization, lungs arranged in clusters, breathing in unison, brains networked together, thinking collective thoughts. It's a body built from bodies, a mega-organism constructed from the rendered pieces of every driver who took the triple rate offer. And I'm joining it. Walking into the warehouse, climbing onto the assembly table, lying down among the other organs, feeling myself integrate, becoming part of the whole, adding my memories to the collective consciousness. The entity thinks with my mind and thousand others. It knows all our routes, all the roads, all the highways. It's building itself into the ultimate driver, the one who knows every path, every shortcut, every rest area and way station. It's going to drive, going to take a truck larger than anything that's existed, a truck built from all the trucks that delivered its components, and it's going to haul something vast, something that needs the combined knowledge of every driver who's ever lived. I don't know what, I'm just an organ now, just a piece, but I can feel the entity preparing, feel it consolidating its strength, almost complete, almost ready. Just needs a few more drivers, a few more deliveries. My phone, the one that's in the pocket of a body I'm no longer sure I possess, sends a text message to dispatch companies across the country, offering loads, triple rate, pick up in Sacramento, deliver to Atlanta. Don't ask questions. New drivers will accept. They always do. The money is too good, and they'll load cargo that transforms during transport, and they'll become part of us, part of the entity that's building itself one delivery at a time. I want to warn them, want to stop the cycle, but I'm integrated now. My will is the entity's will, and the entity wants to grow. The warehouse doors close. The assembly continues. And outside, new trucks are arriving, driven by people who think they know their own names, who think they're just hauling meat, who don't realize they're both the driver and the cargo. They'll learn, in Colorado or Kansas or Tennessee. They'll open their trailers and see their names carved into flesh. And they'll keep driving, because triple rate, Because the money. Because by the time they understand, they'll already be part of the route, part of the cargo, part of the entity. Part of us. We are the flesh cargo, and we're always hiring. Story 3, the eternal loading dock. I've been backing up to this loading dock for 48 hours straight, and every time I get close, the building moves another foot away, and the dock supervisor keeps giving me directions through a bullhorn, but his instructions change every attempt. And I've burned through 2 tanks of diesel just reversing and pulling forward over and over. And my truck's backup alarm has been beeping for so long that it's become a sound I hear in my bones. And I can't remember what it's like to not be backing up to this fucking dock. Patricia Sullivan, age 37, 9 years driving, and I'm delivering paper products to a distribution center in Oklahoma City that I've been to a dozen times before. Except I haven't, because this building is wrong. This dock is wrong. This entire situation is impossible, but I'm trapped in it, unable to leave, compelled to keep backing up to a destination that refuses to let me arrive. The supervisor's name is something like Morrison or Morris, or maybe he never told me his name. He's been standing there with his bullhorn for 48 hours too, never tired, never needing a break, just giving directions in a voice that's starting to sound like it's coming from inside my head rather than the bullhorn. A little more to the left. No, your other left, straighten out. You're jackknifing, pull forward and try again. I pull forward for the 317th time. I've been counting. 317 attempts to back into a single loading dock. I'm a good driver. I can back a 53-foot trailer into a spot barely wider than the truck itself. I've parked in Manhattan during rush hour. I've navigated loading docks in warehouses that were built before trucks this size existed. But this dock is defeating me. Every time I get close, the building relocates, just a few feet, enough that my trailer is no longer and the supervisor makes me start over. Other drivers have come and gone. I've watched them pull into the lot, back up to adjacent docks, unload and leave. All while I'm still trying to park at dock 17. They look at me sometimes, confused, wondering why I'm still here, still attempting the same maneuver over and over. One driver, a young guy in a Freightliner, walked over during one of my forward pulls. "You okay? You've been here since yesterday." "The dock won't let me park," I said. He looked at the dock, at the building. "Looks normal to me, just back up straight." "I've tried 300 times, it keeps moving." He gave me the look, the one that says he thinks I'm crazy or on drugs or just incompetent. Maybe take a break, get some sleep. But I can't take a break, can't sleep. The supervisor is waiting, the dock is waiting, my cargo is waiting, 28 pallets of paper products that need to be delivered. I have a deadline, I have a schedule. I put the truck in reverse and try again. 318. The backup alarm beeps its rhythmic warning. Beep, beep, beep. The dock gets closer. I'm watching 3 mirrors simultaneously, checking angles, adjusting steering. The trailer is aligned perfectly. This is it. This is the one. The building moves just 3 feet to the left. The dock is no longer in front of my trailer. I'm aimed at a brick wall. "Pull forward and try again," the supervisor says through the bullhorn. I want to scream, want to get out and walk away. Leave the truck, leave the cargo, leave this impossible situation. But I can't. My hands won't release the steering wheel. My foot stays on the pedals. I pull forward and prepare for attempt 319. My phone has no signal. Hasn't had signal since I entered the parking lot 48 hours ago. I can't call dispatch. Can't call for help. I'm alone with the dock and the supervisor and the building that won't stay still. I notice something during attempt 347. The other docks, the ones where drivers have successfully parked, they're empty. The trucks are gone, but they were just there. I saw them unloading. Saw the drivers chatting, checking paperwork, closing their trailer doors. But now the docks are vacant and the building has no lights in those sections. Just dock 17 is illuminated, glowing in the darkness. "Focus, Ms. Sullivan," the supervisor says. "You're getting distracted. That's why you keep failing. You need to concentrate." I've been concentrating for 48 hours. My eyes are dry and burning. My back aches from sitting. My bladder is screaming, but I can't stop to use the bathroom because the supervisor is waiting, the dock is waiting, and if I get out of the truck, I might not be able to get back in, might lose my place in this eternal queue of one. 392. The trailer is perfectly straight. I'm approaching at the exact angle. This has to work, has to. The dock moves. This time it moves up, vertically, rising 15 feet into the air. My trailer is aimed at empty space at the parking lot pavement where the dock used to be. You're too low, the supervisor says. Adjust your elevation and try again. I can't adjust my elevation. I'm a truck, not a fucking helicopter. But even as I scream this, I notice my trailer is tilting. The nose is rising. The wheels are lifting off the ground. My truck is rotating upward, trying to match the elevated dock. This is impossible. Trucks don't fly. Trailers don't tilt without tipping. But I'm watching it happen, feeling it happen, as my vehicle defies physics to accommodate the dock's movement. I back up, trailer aimed at the elevated dock. Get closer, closer, almost there. The dock splits in half. The two pieces move in opposite directions, leaving a gap in the middle. My trailer would fall through. You're not committed, the supervisor says. You need to believe you can do this. Your lack of confidence is sabotaging your attempts. 403, 418, 460. The numbers blur together. The dock moves in increasingly impossible ways. It rotates. It inverts. It becomes transparent and then opaque again. It multiplies into 3 docks all occupying the same space. It turns into a door, a window, a hole in reality itself. And I keep backing up. Keep trying, because that's what you do. You deliver the load, you find a way. You don't give up just because the destination is literally moving away from you. At attempt 500, I notice I'm not alone. There are other trucks in the lot now, all backing up to dock 17, all attempting the same impossible parking job. I can see them in my mirrors, dozens of trucks, all reversing simultaneously, all aimed at the same moving target. The supervisor has multiplied too. There's one for each truck, all identical, all holding bullhorns, all giving different instructions that somehow apply to all of us simultaneously. You're too far right, pull forward, you're too far left, pull forward, you're not centered, pull forward. We pull forward, all of us. A synchronized dance of forward and reverse, over and over, eternal. At attempt 741, I see a driver get out of his truck. He walks toward the supervisor, probably to argue, to demand an explanation. The supervisor points the bullhorn at him, doesn't say anything, just points. The driver freezes, literally freezes, body turning gray and still, becoming a statue. The supervisor lowers the bullhorn and returns his attention to the rest of us. Pull forward and try again. We try again. The statue remains where it is, a warning. Don't leave your truck. Don't question the process. Just keep backing up. I've stopped counting. The numbers are meaningless. Time is meaningless. There's only reverse and forward, beep and silence, the dock that moves and the supervisor that watches. My cargo has been in the trailer so long that I can hear it shifting. Paper products don't shift. They're stable. But I hear it, a rustling sound like something alive moving through cardboard boxes. Something that grew in the cargo during the endless hours of backing up. Something that's waiting to be delivered. If I ever deliver, if the dock ever stops moving. At some point, I don't know if it's been days or weeks, I realize I can see through my hands. They're translucent on the steering wheel, growing fainter every time I pull forward. The other drivers are fading too, their trucks becoming ghost images, present but not quite real. You're disappearing because you're not committing, the supervisor says. You're becoming attempts instead of accomplishments. Every time you pull forward, you fade a little more. Eventually, you'll be nothing but the act of backing up. No driver, no truck, just the eternal reversal, just the intention to park without ever parking. I want to stop, want to accept the fading, to let it take me completely, to become nothing. But the truck keeps moving. My translucent foot stays on the pedal. My ghostly hands grip the wheel. I'm fading but not stopping, disappearing but still trying. The dock has become something else now. Not a loading dock anymore, but in concept of a loading dock. The idea of a destination. The promise of delivery represented as an architectural form that exists only as a goal, never as an achievement. I'm so faded now that I can see through my entire body. See through the truck. We're all transparent, all the drivers, all the vehicles, all backing up to a dock that's also transparent. That's also just an idea, a shared hallucination of accomplishment that none of us will ever reach. The supervisor is the only solid thing left. Him and his bullhorn. He stands there, permanent and real, watching us fade, watching us back up again and again, harvesting our attempts like crops. "You're doing great," he says, and it's the first time he's said anything positive. "You're almost there, almost delivered, just a few thousand more attempts." A few thousand. The number doesn't scare me anymore. I've moved past fear into something else. Acceptance, maybe, or surrender. I'm backing up because backing up is what I do now, not because I expect to reach the dock, just because the act of backing up has become my entire existence. The other drivers are gone completely, fully faded. I'm the only one left with even a hint of visibility. The parking lot is full of ghost trucks, all backing up, all piloted by nothing, all aimed at a dock that exists only in the space between intention and achievement. I'm fading too, almost gone, can barely see my own hands, but I can feel them on the wheel, can feel the truck moving. The backup alarm still beeps, a sound that exists without a source, a warning that has no audience, a noise that is pure function with no form. The dock is right there, inches away. I can almost touch it, almost complete this delivery that I've been attempting for what might be years now, just a little more, just a tiny adjustment. It moves. Of course it moves. "Pull forward and try again," the supervisor says, and his voice is gentle now, almost kind. He knows I'm almost gone. Knows I'm about to become pure attempt, pure effort, pure backing upness with no driver to embody it. I pull forward, or the truck pulls forward, or the concept of pulling forward occurs and the universe makes it so. I'm not sure I'm driving anymore, not sure there's a me to do the driving. But the backup alarm still beeps. The dock is still there, the supervisor still watches. And I'm still backing up. Always backing up. Forever backing up. To a dock I will never reach. Story 4, the way station between seconds. The scale is weighing my truck between moments, and the display keeps showing times instead of weights. 3, 47:23, 3, 47:23, 3, 47:23. And I've been sitting here for what feels like hours, but my clock hasn't moved, hasn't ticked past 3, 47:23, and the scale operator keeps saying, "Please wait," in a voice that loops perfectly every 2.3 seconds, and I'm trapped in a single instant that's somehow lasting forever. James Whitmore, 47, 12 years driving, and I entered this way station on I-80 in Wyoming at exactly 3:47:23 p.m. according to every clock in my truck, and now it's still 3:47:23 and the second won't end, won't progress to 3:47:24, and I'm experiencing duration without time passing, existing in the gap between one moment and the next. The way station shouldn't exist. I drive this route monthly and I've never seen a scale at this location. But there it was, suddenly the signs commanding all trucks to enter, and I obeyed because you don't ignore way station signs, you don't invite dot scrutiny, you just comply and get weighed and move on. Except I can't move on. The scale is weighing me but not with pounds. It's weighing my temporality, measuring how much time my truck contains. And apparently I contain a lot of time, too much time, the scale can't process it. The display cycles through different timestamps. 3, 47, 23, 9, 12, 0, 5, 2, 33, 44, 11, 58, 59, all flashing in sequence, all the times I've been weighed at every way station I've ever visited, all simultaneously true because I'm existing in all those moments at once while trapped in this single second. The operator is visible in the booth, mouth open mid-word, frozen while speaking. "Please wait." The sound stretches, each phoneme lasting forever, a word that takes an eternity to speak because time has stopped working properly. I try to get out of my truck. The door handle moves slowly, so slowly like I'm pushing through concrete. I pull harder. The handle inched toward the open position. This is going to take hours to open a door, hours contained inside a single second. Other trucks are entering the weigh station behind me. I can see them in my mirror approaching the scale, driving normally while I'm locked in slow time. They pass me, pull onto the scale, get weighed instantly, drive away. All of this happens while I'm still pulling the door handle, while the operator is still saying, "Wait," while 3:47:23 refuses to become 3:47:24. A knock on my window. I turn my head, takes several minutes to complete the turn, and see a DOT officer standing there. He's moving normally, operating at regular speed while I'm stuck in this temporal molasses. "Sir, you need to exit the scale," he says. "You've been here for 3 hours." 3 hours, but my clock says 3:47:23. "I'm trying to open the door," I manage to say, though it takes forever to form the words. "The door is open," he says. "You're sitting in your truck with the door open for 3 hours. Other drivers are complaining they have to go around you." I look down. The door is open, fully open. I'm sitting in my truck with the door wide open, and I don't remember finishing the pull, don't remember the latch releasing. The last thing I remember clearly is starting to pull, and that was seconds ago from my perspective, but apparently hours ago in the real world. "I'm experiencing time differently," I try to explain. "It's 3:47:23 and it won't stop being 3:47:23. He looks at his watch. "It's 6:52 p.m. You entered the scale at 3:47. You've been sitting here since then. Are you on any medications? Have you consumed any substances?" I'm sober, completely sober, but I'm also trapped in a moment that expanded to contain hours. The second between 3:47:23 and 3:47:24 has become a vast space, a temporal cavern I'm lost inside. The officer is talking, but I'm having trouble processing it. His words arrive out of sequence. "License, test, medical, tow," all jumbled, all the wrong order, like I'm hearing the conversation shuffled. Or like he's saying things that haven't happened yet mixed with things that already happened, all compressed into the present. I hand him my license, or I start to hand it to him. The action takes so long that he gets tired of waiting and takes it from my hand while I'm still extending my arm. He walks away, comes back. Time is passing for him normally. For me, I'm still experiencing the single second, but things are happening in that second, events layering on top of each other, all occupying the same temporal space. He's writing a citation, he's calling a supervisor, he's helping me down from the truck all at once, all in the same moment. All in 3:47:23. I'm standing now, though I don't remember the transition between sitting and standing. The weigh station looks normal. Other trucks flowing through, getting weighed, leaving. Everything working as it should except for me. "You need to come with me," the officer says. "We're taking you for medical evaluation." I follow him. Each step is strange because I'm moving through space but not time. I'm in the parking lot. I'm entering his vehicle. I'm sitting in the back seat. All of these locations exist simultaneously because I'm still in 3:47:23 and all these even. TS are happening in that single frozen second. The patrol car drives, or maybe it doesn't drive. Maybe we're stationary and the world is moving around us. Hard to tell when time isn't working right. We arrive at a hospital. I'm in an examination room. A doctor is shining a light in my eyes. Pupils reactive, no signs of stroke, vitals normal. "Mr. Whitmore, do you know what day it is?" "It's 3:47:23, I say. "That's a time, not a day." "It's the only time. It's always 3:47:23. They run tests, CT scan, blood work, neurological examination. Everything comes back normal. I'm healthy. My brain is fine. There's no medical explanation for why I'm experiencing duration without temporal progression. "I think you're experiencing extreme fatigue," the doctor says. "Possibly a micro-sleep episode that felt longer than it was. We're going to keep you overnight for observation." But they don't keep me overnight because overnight never comes. It's still 3:47:23. The hospital runs through its routines around me. Nurses changing shifts, visitors coming and going, meals being served. But for me, it's all the same moment, all 3:47:23, All this activity compressed into a single second that contains multitudes. I see other patients. Some of them are like me, stuck in moments. One woman is in 9:13:06 a.m. She's been in that moment for 6 days according to the hospital records, but from her perspective, it's been one very long second. We can't communicate easily because we're in different times, different stuck points, but we recognize each other. See the same confusion, the same slow-motion existence. It's the roads, another patient tells me. He's lucid, moving at normal speed. The highways are collecting time, stealing seconds from drivers. You drove through a collection point. The way station is where they harvest it. Most drivers lose a second or two without noticing. But sometimes someone loses the same second forever, gets trapped in it. The second can't end because it's being continuously collected, continuously harvested, and you're still inside it. Why, I ask, though the word takes forever to say. To extend other roads, to make highways that are longer than the distance they cover. You know how sometimes a drive feels shorter than it should? How you arrive faster than the math says you should? That's because someone else's time is being used. Someone like you, stuck in a second, providing duration that gets redirected to speed up someone else's journey. I want to argue to say it's crazy, but I'm living proof that time doesn't work the way it should. I'm stuck in 3:47:23, experiencing it over and over, the same second repeating while also somehow progressing, containing days of events in a single tick of a clock. How do I get unstuck? I manage to ask. You don't. The second you're in has been taken. It's being used elsewhere. You're living in the empty space where a second used to be. A temporal hole. You'll stay there until they decide to return it, and they never return them. The highway system needs the time more than you do. He walks away, moving at normal speed, leaving me in my slow-motion hell. Days pass, maybe. Hard to tell. I'm still in the hospital, still stuck in 3:47:23, but I'm learning to function. Learning to move faster within my frozen second. It's like learning to walk again, but instead of space, I'm learning to navigate duration. Other stuck patients and I form a community. We communicate in super slow motion, conversations that take days to complete from the hospital staff's perspective but feel normal paced to us. We share our stories, where we got stuck, what we were hauling, what way station stole our time. There are 17 of us, all truckers, all caught in single seconds that won't end. The oldest has been stuck for 14 years. He's in 8:23:45 p.m. and he's forgotten what it's like to experience the progression of time. He just exists, occupying his eternal moment while the world ages around him. They'll discharge you eventually, he tells me in our slow-motion way. Send you back to your life. You'll learn to work within your second, take a disability claim, live on that. Watch everyone else move through time while you're stationary. It's not really living, but it's not death either. It's something in between. Something the highway creates when it needs to expand temporally without physically getting longer. I don't want that. Don't want to spend the rest of my life in 3:47:23, but I don't have a choice. The second is mine now, or I'm the second's. Hard to distinguish ownership when you've become one with a unit of time. They discharge me on day 7, though I experience it as one very long, very weird second. Give me paperwork. Tell me to follow up with a neurologist. Wish me luck. I walk out of the hospital moving slower than everyone else, stuck in my temporal sinkhole. I go back to the way station, stand where the scale used to be. It's gone now, no way station. No scale, no booth with an operator, just empty roadside as if it was never there. But I'm still stuck, still in 3:47:23. The way station was real, it took my time, and now I'm paying the price. I find a cheap motel, rent a room by the week, sit there experiencing my eternal second while the world moves around me. TV shows play at incomprehensible speed. People check in and out of neighboring rooms in what feels like heartbeats. The sun rises and sets so fast it's just a flicker. And I sit in 3:47:23, aging in a moment that never ends, thinking about the highway that stole my time, wondering how many other drivers are stuck like me, scattered across the country, all trapped in different seconds, all living in the temporal gaps that keep the roads running smoothly for everyone else. My truck is still at the way station, according to a letter I received from Dot. Abandoned vehicle. I need to claim it or it will be sold at auction. But I can't drive anymore. Can't operate at normal speed. I'm too slow, too stuck, too much of this moment and not enough of any other. So I let it go. Let them auction my truck. I'm not a driver anymore. I'm not anything anymore except a man experiencing the same second for the rest of his life, however long that life lasts. Sometimes other stuck people find me. We recognize each other, see the slow motion movements, the temporal displacement. We gather in my motel room, all of us in different seconds, all stolen by different way stations, and we exist together in our separate times, a community of the unstuck, the temporarily displaced, the sacrifices the highway demanded so that someone somewhere could arrive 5 minutes early. It's not living, but it's all we have. 3:47:23. Still 3:47:23. Always 3:47:23. Forever. Story 5, The Cargo of Last Words. Every object in my trailer is whispering someone's dying words, and I'm hauling 48,000 pounds of final moments. And when I opened the doors at a rest stop in Nevada, the voices poured out like water, and now I can't close them again. Can't silence the accumulated last words of thousands of people whose possessions ended up in this load. And I'm driving east with a trailer full of goodbyes that won't stop speaking. Marcus Chen, 51, 23 years driving, and I'm hauling estate liquidation from a warehouse in San Francisco to an auction house in Philadelphia, which means everything in my trailer came from people who died, their worldly possessions sorted and sold, and now being transported across the country while their final words echo from the objects they touched last. A lamp is whispering, "Tell Maria I love her," over and over. The same 6 words in an old man's voice, raspy with age and illness. The lamp must have been nearby when he died, close enough that his last words soaked into it, imprinted on the metal and glass like audio recorded on magnetic tape. A desk is saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry." A woman's voice, young, desperate. I don't know what she was sorry for. Don't know if she was apologizing to a person or to God or to herself. Just that final apology, trapped in the wood, repeated endlessly. A box of books whispers in multiple voices, each book speaking its owner's last words. "It doesn't hurt anymore. Don't let them see me like this. I'm not ready. Finally. No, no, no." All the books speaking at once, a chorus of final moments, overlapping and blending into a cacophony of death. I've tried closing the trailer doors, but the voices come through the walls now. They're inside my cab, carried on the air, maybe, or transmitted through the fifth wheel, through the metal connection between my truck and the cargo. The whispers are everywhere. At a truck stop in Salt Lake City, I ask another driver if he can hear them. I open my trailer so he can listen. He stands there, head cocked, concentrating. I don't hear anything except normal trailer sounds. A rattling maybe, some shifting, nothing weird. But to me, the voices are deafening. Hundreds of people speaking their final words simultaneously. Some in English, some in languages I don't recognize. All desperate, all final, all echoing from objects that witnessed death. "You okay, man?" the driver asks. "You look rough." I haven't slept in 3 days. Can't sleep. The voices are louder at night somehow, as if darkness amplifies them. I lie in my sleeper berth and listen to strangers die over and over, their last words a lullaby of mortality. "I'm fine," I lie, "just tired." I close the trailer and get back on the road. The voices come with me. A mirror is reflecting not my face, but the face of its last owner, a woman in her 80s, her expression peaceful. Her lips move and I hear, "Thank you for everything," in a voice thin with exhaustion. The mirror shows her for hours, this dead woman, speaking her gratitude to someone who isn't there, someone who wasn't there when she died, someone who will never hear her final thanks. Tu. Albach speaks in a man's voice. "I should have fixed the roof." That's all, just that one regret. A roof unfixed, bothering him even at the end. I wonder if the roof leaked, if his family dealt with it after he was gone, if they knew it was on his mind when he died. There's a wedding dress, carefully preserved, and it whispers, "You looked so beautiful," in a voice that's barely there, faint as breath. The last words of someone watching a loved one wear that dress, maybe watching in memory, maybe hallucinating at the end. a final vision of beauty before darkness. The cargo is not random. I realize this somewhere in Wyoming. Every object is from someone who died with regrets, with words left unsaid, with apologies unspoken and love unexpressed. This isn't just a state liquidation. It's concentrated final moments, a collection of death's debris. I call the warehouse where I loaded. The number rings forever before someone answers. Ellison Estate Services. This is Marcus Chen, driver for Unit 47 Tango. I picked up a load from you 3 days ago. Where did this cargo come from? One moment, please, Muzak. Then, that load was consolidated from multiple estates. Standard liquidation. Is there a problem? The objects are there whispering, speaking last words, dying words. Silence on the line, then we'll have to call you back. Click. They don't call back. I try the number again and it's disconnected. The warehouse, when I look it up online, doesn't exist. The address I loaded from shows as an empty lot on Google Maps Street View. But I have the cargo. It's real. 48,000 pounds of objects that once belonged to the dead, all speaking their owners' final words in an endless loop of farewell. A photograph in a frame. I see her now, she's waiting. The voice is filled with wonder. Whoever died was seeing something at the end, someone they'd been waiting for. The photograph is of a young woman from the 1940s, smiling at the camera. Maybe she was the one waiting. Maybe she'd been dead for decades, and finally, at the end, the person holding this photograph saw her again. Children's toys whisper in small voices, "Mommy, where did everyone go? I'm cold." The last words of children, scared and alone, calling for comfort that didn't come. These toys were nearby when children died, and they absorbed those final confused questions, those pleas for mothers who couldn't help. I'm crying as I drive, can't help it. The voices are breaking me down, each one a tragedy. Each one a person's final contribution to the world, just words, just last gasps and dying thoughts. But so many of them. So much accumulated grief and regret and love and fear, all contained in household objects being shipped across the country to be sold at auction. Who buys this stuff? Who takes home a lamp that whispers, "Tell Maria I love her," and puts it on their nightstand? Who places a mirror on their wall that shows the face of a dead stranger? Do they hear the voices, or is it just me? At a way station in Nebraska, the scale operator comes out to talk to me. "Sir, our scale is picking up unusual readings. Your cargo is registering as both positive and negative weight. Like there's something pulling up while pushing down. We need to inspect." I open the trailer for him. He climbs in with a flashlight, starts moving boxes, checking straps. Everything seems secure. I don't see weight. He's found something. A coffin. A full-size coffin, wooden, ornate, tucked between pallets of furniture. I didn't load a coffin. I checked my cargo. There was no coffin. "This isn't on your manifest," the operator says. "It wasn't there when I loaded." "Well, it's here now." He tries to open it. The lid is stuck. He pulls harder. It opens with a creak that sounds like screaming. Inside, there's nothing, just empty satin lining. But from the empty coffin comes a voice louder than all the others. "I am everyone who died without speaking. I am every silent death, every person who went alone, every last breath taken without witness. I am the words that were never said, the goodbyes that never came. And I'm tired of silence, tired of being forgotten. So I'm speaking now through these objects, through this cargo. I'm making sure everyone's last words are heard." The operator stumbles backward, falls out of the trailer, lands hard on the concrete. "What the fuck is that?" "The cargo," I say. "It's not just objects, it's something else, something using the objects to speak." He's on his radio, voice panicked, calling for backup. I don't wait. I close the trailer, climb in my truck, and drive. Leave the way station before more dots shows up, before they can quarantine my load, before they can try to understand what I'm hauling. Because I understand now. I'm not hauling a state liquidation. I'm hauling an entity. A collective consciousness formed from all those final words, all that accumulated death speech. It's grown inside my trailer, fed by the last words SOA. Ked into objects, and it's using me to travel, to spread, to make sure all those dying voices are heard. The voices are changing now, not just repeating last words, but speaking to me directly. Marcus Chen, 51 years old, you think you're the driver, but you're the vessel. You think you're hauling us, but we're hauling you to Philadelphia, to the auction house, where thousands of people will come, will buy, will take us home, will carry us to new locations, and will speak there too, speak in their houses, their offices, their lives. We'll fill the world with last words, until everyone is surrounded by dying voices all the time. I try to turn around, to go back to California, to return this cargo, but the roads won't let me. Every exit I take loops back to the highway. Every attempt to change course results in the road curving, redirecting, pushing me east. The cargo wants to reach Philadelphia. The entity inside it has a destination, a purpose. By Iowa, objects are falling out of the trailer. I see them in my mirrors, tumbling onto the highway as I drive. A chair, a bookshelf, a box of dishes. They land and shatter, and their voices pour out, louder, audible even outside the trailer. Cars swerve to avoid the debris. I can see drivers' faces, confused, frightened, as they hear the whispers of the dead coming from broken furniture scattered across I-80. I can't stop it, can't contain it. The cargo is escaping, spreading itself across the route, leaving a trail of speaking objects behind me. A trail of death's words from coast to coast. My CB crackles, a voice I don't recognize. This is convoy leader to all eastbound traffic on I-80. Be advised, there's a truck ahead of you shedding cargo, and that cargo is dangerous. Do not approach the debris. Do not touch any fallen objects. They're contaminated with something, possibly biological, possibly worse. Convoy leader, there's no convoy, just me and my trailer of last words. But then I see them in my mirrors. Trucks. Dozens of them, all following me, keeping their distance but staying close. They're wearing hazmat symbols on their trailers, government vehicles, military maybe. They're following me, tracking me, waiting to see where I deliver before they intervene. I won't make it to Philadelphia. They'll stop me before that, quarantine the cargo, contain the entity, and then what? What happens to all?